Well, good morning. Today is Monday, December 4th. It's time for our weekly meeting highlights. And this week it's 13 simple swaps that can save you points. We all know how important that is, especially this time of year. But we always start off with how I do my weight. Just as a quick reminder, I weigh myself on Thursdays at a meeting. I share it on my daily vlog on Thursdays. So if you want to see how I did this week, tune into my daily vlog this Thursday. But as of last Thursday, this is how I did. I'm very happy to report I lost 0.6 for a total loss of 42.2. I really worked hard to lose that 0.6. If you remember, I gained almost 5 pounds the 2 weeks before that. And then we had Thanksgiving and all that good stuff going on. So a 0.6 I was really happy with. And I'm determined to at least stay the same or lose just a little bit of weight during the holidays. I'm not going to be stressing as much about what I'm eating, but I love that there's simple swaps that I can help save some points because I do plan on going to a couple Christmas parties. I do plan on partaking in some Christmas cookies. So I'm going to prepare myself for that, and these are some quick ways that we can do that. So let's get started. Think about recipes you love or ones you're planning to whip up this week. What if you could just make some of their points just disappear, or as my family says, piss-appear? This guide will help you make that magic happen. If only it was that easy. But I mean, everything that you do in life takes a little bit of effort, a little bit of gung-ho-ness on your part. If everything came simple, life would be very boring, in my opinion. So every once in a while, you have to struggle. And I think if you struggle a little bit and then you overcome whatever it was that was bothering you or that was difficult for you, I think you feel a sense of accomplishment. I can brush my teeth every morning. I don't feel any sense of accomplishment in that because I can brush my teeth. But if I can pass by a donut, then I feel a sense of accomplishment. So you got to really reward yourself, not with food, but with praise. And think to yourself, you know what? I can accomplish a lot. And if you do accomplish something that's a little bit difficult for you, give yourself a pat on the back. Say it out loud if you have to. Well done. Well done for not doing that, you need to praise yourself sometimes. But these are some things that the Weight Watchers tells you. This is the Weight Watcher Guide to Ingredient Swaps. If a recipe calls for, and then they tell you if it's a type of meat or poultry with more fat, like a skirt steak or ground beef or chicken thighs, you can try a leaner cut of like a tri-tip sirloin, 95% lean ground beef, or skinless chicken breasts. And then you can save up to 5 points per serving. I don't eat a lot of red meat per se. I do like chicken. I do like turkey. I do like pork chops, but I don't make them that often. My pork chops usually are either underdone or overdone. I worry so much about pork. I know now they tell you that the pork temperature is 145 degrees. and my pork is still a little pink. And I just can't eat it. I know that they say it's safe, but I just been for years and years knowing that you did pork to 165. So I try to compromise by getting to like around 150, 155. But even then, it tastes a little overdone. But I do get 95% lean ground beef. I'm not a big fan of ground turkey. Sometimes I'll have it in my chili because you really can't taste the difference. So if you really can't taste the difference, what's the point of having all the extra points? But to have a turkey burger, I can tell the difference. So, and then I do like a good steak, but I don't make steaks at home. I always get them out. And then I know when you get them out, they're like smothered in butter. I've seen Gordon Ramsay. I see how they scoop and scoop and scoop and scoop and splash and splash and splash all that butter, which is why that beef tastes so good at a steak restaurant. It's not so much that they just grill it. It's all the added ingredients that they put on it. If a recipe calls for coconut oil or butter, try olive or canola oil because that can save up to 4 points per tablespoon. I'm allergic to coconut, so I don't use coconut oil. And I, for the most part, don't use butter. When I cook anything in a pan, I just spray it with a little bit of Pam in the pan just to kind of, so it doesn't stick on the bottom. Now, butter on popcorn, that's a whole other story, but we're not talking about that. Another thing they say is if you use full-fat meat, full-fat milk or cheese, you could try fat-free or reduced fat, and that'll save up to 4 points per serving. Okay, this one I'm going to avoid. I am not a fat-free or reduced fat cheese person. I'm just not. A little trick that I've heard from Recipes with Roy, that if you spray a little bit of Pam or olive oil or vegetable oil or coconut oil or something on top of the cheese, it does tend to melt a little bit better. My cottage cheese is 4%. I figure in the points. I think that you save like 1 point by having like a lower fat cottage cheese. And you know what? For the taste, I'm just going to figure out the extra point and just go with that. And I don't drink full fat milk. I drink 2% milk. 1% milk is like taking 2% milk and just putting 2% milk and half water. No, I don't drink that much milk like I used to in the past. So it does kill me when I have a glass of milk and it's 5 points, because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, 5 points for a glass of milk. It just seems like way too much. It's just, but I'll, bite the bullet and I still do it. So sugar, instead of using sugar, use granulated stevia, grated apples, or mashed bananas, and that can save you up to 4 points per tablespoon. There's another thing. I don't use sugar. Jim uses sugar, so he has to let me know when the sugar jar, because it's not a clear sugar jar. It's like, it's porcelain. So I don't see when the sugar's down. So he has to let me know when there's no sugar, because I do not use sugar. I don't use it on my cereal. I don't use it in my tea. I just don't use sugar. And I don't like the granulated. I'm surprised they didn't tell you to use applesauce. I know the mashed bananas make sense, but instead of grated apples, I have swapped out in recipes applesauce, and it really does fine for me. I don't understand why they didn't include that instead of grated apples, but who's to know? Another thing is oil that you have in baked goods. Now they tell you to use the unsweetened applesauce, and you can save up to 5 points per tablespoon. Heavy cream or sour cream, use canned pumpkin or fat-free Greek yogurt. Okay, I don't like pumpkin and I don't like fat-free Greek yogurt. I am doing pretty good eating the Chobani sugar-free mixed fruit yogurt every once in a while. But I am not a pumpkin or yogurt person. But you can save up to 11 points per quarter cup, so that is quite a bit. And peanut butter, use powdered PB, and that can save 5 points per 2 tablespoons. I've never tried the powdered PB because I just eat peanut butter. I don't use 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. That's a lot of peanut butter. If you ever measured out 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, that is a lot of peanut butter. I usually just use like a half of a tablespoon, and it comes out to be like 2 points. And a half of a tablespoon of peanut butter is more than enough to cover my piece of toast. And you've seen my plates, and you know that I like big portions. So if I can get by with a half a tablespoon of peanut butter, and once again, like I said, I figure in my points for the foods that I love. I'm not going to skimp and eat something that I don't like just to save a couple points. I get 28 points a day, and I think I get like 38 or 40 weeklies. If you can't figure out something with that, it's just, there's enough 0 point foods and low point foods to kind of balance out some of the higher point foods that you really like to eat. You just can't eat them on a daily basis, that's all. And here's how to save even more points. Cut down on oil or other fats by grilling, broiling, or steaming your food instead of frying and sauteing. Brush oil directly onto your food, or use a cooking spray or oil spritzer. And use reduced salt stock to prevent stir-frying vegetables from sticking. All of my foods that I get as less sodium as I can get. If you ever looked at the side labels of the ingredients, the amount of sodium they put in products, and that's just for the long shelf life. So I always try to find a healthy version of something, a lower sodium version of it, and I just think that we need to be more aware of how much sodium is actually in our foods, because it's ridiculous how much sodium is actually in our foods. And you can stretch a serving or amount by chopping the nuts and chocolate into smaller pieces, opt for grated cheese instead of sliced or cubed, and look for brands with less fat or no added sugar, and use the WW app to compare. when I'm shopping, I always pull out my phone. I'm always checking the label. People look at me and they'll go, "Oh, you're a Weight Watcher." They know. And I do look for brands of that. I know it's always better to grate your own cheese because they don't put the stuff in it to, like, grated cheese has got some kind of component to keep it from sticking together. But it's really not that healthy for you. But let's face it, sometimes it's just easier to grab a bag of shredded cheese. I do prefer shredded cheese that we've shredded ourselves on like any kind of food that I make, because it does taste better. But sometimes I'm not just going to put the effort into it. So I get the shredded cheese. I need to get back to, I was at one point shredding my own cheese all the time, and I liked it so much better. And really, I find that when you shred your own cheese, the block cheese stays fresher longer if you wrap it properly. But let's make one thing clear. You should 100% feel okay making and enjoying recipes as they are, whether it's Grandma's famous pasta or your go-to weeknight meal, or even those from-scratch brownies. This journey isn't about turning every favorite into a lower points knockoff. Your budget allows for flexibility in what you prepare and eat. You don't need to constantly be eating. When I first started, that's why and when I first started, I just revolved my plan around foods that I loved and figured my points in afterwards. And then when I kind of hit a plateau and I was kind of slowing down in my weight loss, I started getting the fat-free stuff and the sugar-free stuff and all of that. And I really wasn't enjoying myself. I wasn't enjoying my meals. And I tended to overeat, even if it was a low-fat product. I just overate. So I went back, unfortunately, too much back, because I gained some of my weight. I gained a lot of my weight back. But I went back to my old way of eating rather than my old way of when I first started Weight Watchers eating. If I would have went back to my old way of starting Weight Watchers eating, I would have done a lot better. I really do believe I wouldn't have gained all my weight back. But I went from fat-free, low fat, no cheese, all of that stuff, to my old way of eating. And that's why I gained so much weight back, because I just forgot the basics of how well I felt and how good I did eating foods that I love in moderation. They also tell you there's also why point-saving swaps and recipe tweaks are very helpful. There may be times you want that extra freedom to eat your usual favorites or something special and stay on track. You might even prefer the low points version or find that swaps become the norm. Planning ahead to fit the foods you love and want to eat in your life, either through lower points cooking and baking or budgeting for the higher point versions, makes this journey more livable and puts you in a better position for success. I did so much better when I did that. And I'm trying very hard to get back to that train of thought, that track of eating, because I did feel a lot better when I did it that way. And 3 fast facts. It isn't sustainable to rule out your favorite foods. Lowering the points in what you cook is one strategy to help you fit in your favorites. And foods that are higher in protein, fiber, and unsaturated fats are lower in points. I also find that if I eat more protein and more fiber, I lose my weight a lot better. Protein just keeps you fuller longer. That's just a fact. And fiber takes you longer to eat. Think how, like, if you can eat an apple or a donut. The donut you can eat like in a minute, 2 minutes, maybe 3. An apple, for me at least, takes a good 5-10 minutes because I don't have very many teeth, so it takes me a little bit longer. But it gives my brain time to realize, that was enough. That really was enough. A couple cookies that you pop in your mouth and you can just eat real quick and swallow. No, your brain doesn't have time to react. And so you eat more and more. And then sometimes you overeat. Not sometimes. For me, most times I overeat if I start popping a cookie or 2 in my mouth. And it's just not sustainable for wanting to lose weight. So you have to weigh the good with the bad and try to swap out points. Don't swap out for lower points if it's not going to bring you any enjoyment. This is the season where you're going to go to Christmas parties, maybe New Year's Eve parties. You're going to have brownies. You're going to have fudge. You're going to have candy. You're going to have cookies. You're going to have get-togethers. You're going to go out to dinner to meet your friends, to exchange your gifts. So December is a busy month, and it doesn't mean that it has to be a month that you're going to gain a lot of weight. So my plan is to really kind of rein it in on the days that I don't have something planned, to kind of make up for the days when I'm going out, to kind of balance it out. So A .6 loss for a 42.2 loss. I'm really happy about that. I'm very proud of myself that I'm back on track. And I plan on following my own advice for December and staying within my point budget and enjoying the foods that I love at the same time. So how did you guys do on your diet, on your weight loss? What are some foods that really cause you to go off the rails? And what do you think you can substitute for that to make it a little bit different? And do you have any big major plans for parties or anything like that? Let me know. So if you're new to my channel, please subscribe, leave a comment, hit the like button, share if somebody might like to see this. I hope to see you back here again next week, but check out my daily vlog. Vlogmas is going on. You know what that means. Talk to you soon.